The first two episodes in season 2 of And Just Like That have been released, and it's somewhat disappointing. I'm looking forward to what the rest of the season has to offer, but these two episodes are not off to a good start. One of the major issues for me is the fact that this is written in a way that is not true to the legacy of the characters we fell in love with a couple of decades ago. These characters, I understand that characters grow. I understand the arc or journey of characters. I get that. But this is written in a way, it seems, to appeal to a phantom audience, really, that isn't there. I think the idea is that they're going to grab an audience, a phantom audience that doesn't exist, because they have an idea of what they think viewers want now, because times have changed. So Sex and the City was about these best friends who were dating in New York in the 90s. And when you look back over it retrospectively, over the different character arcs and traits, really, it seems like they were chasing men, or chasing this idea of what they thought life should be in society at that time. And I get that, but I just don't see this drastic change in their character traits. And that's what it feels like here, because they're speaking to this maybe Gen Zers who probably aren't watching, or speaking to millennials who may not be watching this show. I think, from my perspective, because I watched every episode, I watched the night it came, I watched live on HBO. I saw both movies. I really hold these characters in high regard, and I loved what they went through. Those were the times. I understand growth. These characters are supposed to be in their mid-50s. Yes, there is growth. People evolve. Even characters evolve. But this is so drastic because it feels inauthentic to the character traits, these specific traits in any of the characters. Now, is it interesting? Yes. Is it inclusive now? Yes. We have many people of color. We have gender. They're including just about everybody. I get that. That is really good to see. But I wish that they stayed true to the original characters' traits, specifically Miranda. This version of Miranda is unrecognizable, because Miranda's trait is she's a best friend to everyone, who gives good advice despite how it's going to be received. Now, and I understand that she is lesbian now. That's fantastic, okay? I get that. She is lesbian. But she is so lost in this relationship that this is not who Miranda is. And even in the film, this is very similar to Samantha Jones in the first Sex and the City movie, where she leaves basically the love of her life. I know she had Richard, the love of her life. She leaves him after a 10-year relationship, and she's hesitant because he was there for her when because he was there for her when she had cancer or whatever. But she told him, "I love me more." And I find that that's who Miranda is. She loves herself too much to be going through this with Che. So Che, if you're caught up with these two episodes in the last season, Che is non-binary and is a stand-up comedian in this season who's working on a pilot in LA. Miranda moves from New York, quits because she wanted to be a civil rights attorney. She left all of that behind, her son, her ex-husband, to move cross country with a woman she barely knows. And now we realize that Che is still married to their ex, or their husband, who they sent to go pick up Miranda when she was stranded at the beach because she lost her phone. And Miranda just goes with it as if it's nothing. It seems like Che is the worst thing that could have happened to Miranda. That's so unfortunate for a character like this. I'm hoping that in the next couple of episodes, we see Miranda come back to reality. And she's not even getting good advice from her friends. That's how I know the writing's bad. Because Charlotte or Carrie or even their new friends would have stepped up by now. I would imagine if they were just working on the concept of And Just Like That, I would have never guessed that Miranda would be living a life like this. I would imagine that she would be a professor because she's been a lawyer this whole time. And so I would imagine that she is a professor or a judge. She drops everything, family, friends, and everything to move cross country with someone she barely knows. She didn't even know that Che was married. This is not Miranda. This is an unrecognizable character, an idea swirling around Michael Patrick King's head because he likely thinks that this is what a new audience wants or expects these characters to be living in this new age of women's agency and rights. We catch up with Dr. Naya, who I liked where her arc was going or her storyline, where her storyline was going. She's married to a musician. He is touring. And so they are not legally separated, but they're kind of separated in a time where they're figuring out their relationship, if they're going to go the distance. And so he is in another state, and she meets the gorgeous Gary Durden. Listen, his name's Toussaint in this episode. I hightailed it to IMDb because the way she turns him down, I was like, oh, he's coming back. We never see him again. He's only in one episode. This is just as unrealistic. Gary Durden is somebody you would throw down everything to be with this guy. So this is very, very unrealistic. I mean, you could be on your honeymoon. You're not turning down Gary Durden, okay? Anyway, so she turns him down. She gets drunk. She FaceTimes with her husband trying to get his attention. He's in his hotel room with some young blonde, and she gets jealous. This is so. And, the next day they talk about, let's talk about surrogacy, and she does not want to have kids. I like where that was going because that's something we want to get into. These are conversations. I love our character. It's a conversation piece. So that would have been great. I don't know where that's going. And then in the first episode, the girls are going, not Dr. Naya, not Professor Naya, but the girls are going to the Met. And so they're all preparing, to go to the Met. They've been invited. And so that's great. We get a really good sequence at the end of what they're wearing to the Met. I love how it opens because they each are showing what they've been up to. Carrie is dating her podcast producer. He is gorgeous. And where that goes, I'm like, this is so unrealistic too. She's been held up with him on her Thursdays after their show, but she doesn't want anything serious. And he doesn't allude that he does, but he's having a good time with her, invites her out with his friends. She says yes as a knee-jerk reaction, but she really doesn't want to be in public with him, really. There's that. He's gorgeous, and she turns him down. I know that her character is going in a different direction, so we get that. Lisa's working on a new documentary. She's my favorite character. Nicole Ari Parker's the outfits that she's wearing are stunning. Every piece looks better than the next. I mean, she looks so good in this series. She's working on a documentary. but she's juggling family life and juggling it well. She can do all things. And so there's one scene where she, wants to show her daughter that she doesn't need a man to finance her life or finance her career. And so she proves that to her daughter. I'd like to see a little more drama with her. They tried with her mother-in-law coming to town, but it didn't go too far. But her husband does have an encounter trying to catch a cab in front of his daughter and his daughter's friend, and they're not trying to pick him up. And so he has this scene. It really didn't go anywhere serious. So, but they do discuss taking the high road because so many people are depending on him to succeed. And so that was that. And Charlotte, she and Harry have the best relationship they always have, and so that's tight knit. She's just having some issues with her daughters. One daughter wants to be a musician, and she and Harry are trying to show support there, but it's kind of like really weak. It doesn't go anywhere serious. Like, even though her daughter is non-binary and changed their name, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't have a serious conversation about it last season and so far, not this season. But her other daughter does sell some high-end designer clothes to what is similar to the Real really. And they even do a scene in the Real in New York. But it's called The Real Deal, this episode. And she needs to get it back because it's Chanel. Charlotte has worn a lot of Chanel throughout the years. And so she wants to get it back. She ends up caving and says she'll buy it back or whatever. That's a really good scene with Carrie. She and Carrie go to the store to try to buy it back, but this Gen Zer could care either way. So that was a cute scene. It's just not what we're used to. I don't think there are any, like, maybe you don't, but Sex and the City back in the day was such a hot topic without social media. Such a hot topic. And I don't think that, and just like that, is as hot of a topic every week, like week to week, the way Sex and the City was. And the conversations that are being had now are bad because what are you doing to Miranda? What have you done to Miranda? She's so unrecognizable. I'm going to give this season a chance, but it is not off to a good start. It's very disappointing. Weak storylines. The serious ones don't go too far, as if they don't want to cross a line. And that's a horrible way to write, to worry about what people are going to think of it. It doesn't come off as organic to me. Hopefully we're in for a better season than what we got these two first episodes. At any rate, hopefully this is going to develop into something better. So far, these two episodes were milquetoast and disappointing, to say the least, with Miranda. At any rate, the first two episodes of And Just Like That are currently streaming on Max.